This video was taken at a medical center in Ulhasnagar, India. At first, it seems like an escaped patient is scaling a column to get to the second floor, but look closely and you'll see some of their movements are quite unnatural. For one thing, this person appears way too light, almost like they weigh almost nothing at all. Look how they reach up with their left hand and grab onto a completely flat section of the wall at the 9-second mark. There doesn't even appear to be anything to hold on to, but somehow pull themselves up. Their arms and legs are way too long here, and it looks constantly hunched over even when it climbs. Whatever this is, it barely looks to be human. It shifts with a crunch and now the entire ride is off balance, threatening to give. The mother is hyperventilating with fear as she tries to explain what's wrong. There's no emergency stop and they have to wait for the ride to naturally cease swinging back and forth to get the child out. You can see the carnival worker make an attempt to grab the car at 4 minutes and 18 seconds, but there's not much he can do. Everyone inside is okay, but I'm wondering if you think this is enough to take them to court over. What would you do if you discovered this demonic face peering into your baby's crib? Posted to the Chills Narrator subreddit by Shadow Panda. The Redditor writes that she was checking her 10-month-old son on the baby monitor when she saw something unexpected. The baby monitor shows what looks to be a horrifying face mid-screen between 2 bars of the crib. Shadow Panda explains further in the comments section. It's outside of his crib, but when I went in there was nothing there. My husband even moved the tummy time mat, and the face or whatever was still there. After removing her son from the crib, she checked the monitor and the face was still visible, but after completing a thorough examination of the room and the crib, although she found nothing, the image vanished from the monitor. While several Redditors have theories, spanning from a bunched up blanket to the Goblin King, one thing most can agree on: this monster looks bonkers. What if you were trailing an ambulance and you saw this in the rear window? This terrifying ghoul was caught on camera by a vehicle following the ambulance. Apart from the spirit, there appears to be 2 human passengers in the back of the ambulance, likely EMTs. As the camera focuses in, the spirit's ghastly facial features appear for a moment before whoever's filming loses control of the camera, likely terrified about what they'd just seen. What would you do if you saw this in the back of an ambulance? It's probably safest to back off. These 2 motorists are driving around in the UK when one of them looks up in the sky and pulls over. They stare at the clouds for about 15 seconds and nothing happens. Then, just when they are about to give up, an unknown object appears immediately in front of them. It drifts into a cloud and some kind of electric reaction happens. Lightning goes off and then a weird semi-transparent rectangular object floats to the ground. The video is very low quality, so either this was taken a long time ago with a bad camera, or else it was probably edited. 2 men from northern Georgia are having some fun and celebrating in the forest. They begin to hear screeches coming from the wilderness surrounding them. At first, they are concerned, though they brush it off, but it soon becomes apparent that whatever is making these noises is coming closer and closer to them. Soon, a figure appears out of the darkness, who looks to be covered in red stains. They flee in the other direction, which was certainly the smart thing to do. While most think this is a humanoid creature of some kind, I think it might be a deranged person who is hiding out in the forest. What the? He probably thought these guys were too close to his hideout and gave them a big scare to make sure they never returned. What do you think of this theory? This may surprise you, but there are certain tribes around the Amazon rainforest that have never had contact with the modern outside world. These shots from above paint a picture of these uncontacted tribes being hostile towards seeing helicopters and drones in the air. so encounters with them are quite rare, since it's best not to interfere with these tribes. So this new drone footage was jaw-dropping when they actually managed to capture this uncontacted tribe on video. If you look closely, you can see there's 16 people quietly walking through the rainforest here. I think it's best if they don't try to get any closer. They certainly don't want a repeat of what happened before. It's creepy to think there's people on this earth who have never seen the modern world, but I agree these groups should remain uncontacted and self-sufficient. This video of the Ishima Hoyashi Bridge in Japan looks like one of the scariest places in the world to drive over and has the internet freaking out. It resembles a terrifying roller coaster more than a bridge, but I found a video of someone going over it, and while the ride is creepy, it's probably not as bad as you thought. I just wanted to show what going over this bridge is really like, since the video went viral not too long ago. The reason why the bridge is built like this is to give extra room for boats to go under. It makes sense, but doesn't really make it any less scary. Chelsea Luna and her friend James go ghost hunting in an old haunted tunnel from the 1920s. This creepy shadow figure at 18 minutes and 7 seconds is what they find. Everyone says that this is a real ghost sighting, but I'm pretty sure this alleged apparition is simply Chelsea's finger while pointing at something. You can kind of see the rest of her hand when you look close, a split second before it happens. So I think this scary ghost sighting is an accident and not real. A YouTuber named Paranormal World records a weird video in a parking garage. He is walking to his car when he hears some seriously scary noises coming from the other side, and that's when he says this creature was caught on camera. Something impossibly fast and low runs across the ground and makes him get into his car fast. The unknown creature looks like a bizarre sighting at first, until you zoom in for a better look, at which point the object looks pretty fake to be honest. I mean, the legs don't even move, so I don't even know how this creature sighting could be real. I also found another video in which he says to have had a ghost sighting in the same building. I mean, the chances of having a creature sighting and a ghost sighting in the same lifetime, let alone in the same building, seems pretty rare. I will say this video looks much more convincing. That is, until 13 minutes and 13 seconds when the little ghost girl abruptly disappears. Look closely and you'll see a tall figure in a black robe looking through the front door of this home. And no, it's not Halloween. It's large and yet at the same time so hard to see that it might be nothing at all. I see it though, and it stands there for a full minute without moving. A YouTuber named Pandora Hart told her manager to give her a copy of this creepy security camera footage to upload after something scary happened to her at work. She's making a drink when the left cup moves all by itself. Her hands are full and the cup just bounces over like no big deal. I've seen videos before where a cup will move slightly because the bottom is wet due to condensation. This isn't one of them. The cup moves too fast. The AC vent is nowhere near, and they keep the door closed. So with that said, how can an object simply move on its own? YouTuber named SuperFelix99 videotapes yet another day of strange behavior from his neighbors across the street. Apparently, this kind of yelling happens frequently. The comments on the video most likely agree that this is most likely the result of being on something, though others claim this is clearly a demonic possession. I would like to get your opinion on what this could be based on what you've just seen. Posted to YouTube in June of 2019, the YouTuber writes, "Man finds creature in ceiling crawl space that apparently laughs at him." The man in the video explains that he's not a believer in the supernatural. He's a skeptic, but sitting alone on the couch in his home that day, he started hearing a noise coming from the roof or the ceiling. In a closet in his home, there's a small hole big enough to stick a camera through. When he does get his camera up there, you can see your normal everyday attic crawl space, but over in the corner, in the darkness, are two large orbs, a pair of eyes, as he asks the creature what it is, expecting a response from what looks to be an animal. A child or a toy's doll laughter rings through the darkness. Is Chucky in this man's attic, or does that raccoon simply have a very strange cold?
Squirrel? Raccoon? Oh, it closed its eyes. Oh my god.
YouTube video posted by a user named 𝐷𝑎𝑟k doesn't have a source, but he claims it happened somewhere in Vermont. The creature looks a lot like the rake, except there appears to be two long and possibly razor-sharp arms jutting ahead to support its weight as it moves. The legs look very small and unnatural at 14 seconds in, and at 42 seconds, you can see its arms are way too long to be a human. However, at the 55-second mark, it looks like it could possibly be someone in a costume, leaning on two walking sticks. So what do you make of this? Have you ever felt like something was watching you? Rocky Mills published this video in May of 2018 writing, "I thought there might be a squatter in the house I was working on, but I caught something far different on camera." He was remodeling a home built in the early 1900s when he set up his camera to catch the so-called squatter. But what he found while wandering through the house was not at all what he expected. Rocky wanders through the house making the rounds. As he turns back towards the door to the basement, which hangs ajar, it slams shut with great force. He races over and swings it open, but again there's no one. The lights from the basement, however, start flickering on and off, causing Rocky to drop his camera and race out of there. What is this? Whatever it might be, I highly doubt it's anything good.